what's up? It's Laura Landers, and today we are talking about what happens to your body when you go off of birth control after being on it for 10 years, a full decade. It has been 2 years since I've been off of birth control, and I have quite a few things to say about it. I used to have a highlighted story on my profile on Instagram, and I have since took it down because it was too wordy, too long, and I decided to put all of that really great info right here in this video, so keep watching. So like I said, I was taking birth control for 10 years, different types of birth control. Sometimes I get kicked off of the brand name, put onto generic, and I'm gonna tell you what I went through. Whether you are a person who has a period or not, this video is incredibly helpful to know, because if I had a video like this when I was 17 years old when I went on birth control, I may not have went on it. Who's to really say? I've got my cheat sheet here so I don't miss any of the good stuff. So we're gonna dive right on into it. First off, I'm not a doctor, and because I'm not, I'm gonna give you one to look into if you're considering going off of birth control or if you just want more information. The doctor that I have, I didn't go to this doctor, but she is on social media and she has taught a lot. She has a book. Her name is Dr. Jolene Brighton. I will tag her in the description below. She is incredibly helpful with she's basically just someone who helps people stop taking birth control. Please don't stop taking birth control if you feel like you need to be on it, but this is for people who are considering going off of birth control, are considering taking birth control, who have never done it before, or anything in between, quite frankly. If you just want to know what's happened to someone, I'm about to share a lot with you, and I think this is invaluable information from maybe a stranger, but nonetheless, it's good stuff. So I immediately regret it. I shouldn't have done it. I had problems with my eyes. I never really told anybody, but when I get really hot, my eyes involuntarily would shake side to side. That being said, I should have gone off of it then, but I didn't, because I don't know, I was thinking it really wasn't that bad for you to take it, why not? But that should have been a clear sign, literal eye sign, that I should have. There's probably a better pun in there that I could have said, but my jokes are so lame. That's okay. So that's why I went on birth control, and in and out over the past 10 years, well now 12 years, but the 10 years I was on birth control, like I said, I had to, depending on what insurance was happening or changing, I would have to go off of a name brand, go on to a generic brand, change brand names, because it was like $300 a month for birth control. That's ridiculous. So I had to switch, and I didn't think much of it. It's the smallest change makes the biggest difference, at least for me. So that being said, let me just say the entire generalization of each category. We have acne, we have hormone imbalances, and we have the period. Okay, there's those three categories. So let's start with the acne. I had bad acne before I went on it. Not insane, just not great. I had worse acne on some of the birth controls that I was on, and every body is different, so there's really no point in me telling you which one did the worst to me, because it could do wonders for you. And by the end of my birth control journey, I had hardly any acne. So there is the acne story over 10 years. Now, the hormone imbalance story is probably the biggest one of them all, so I'll just dive right on into that. Basically, I didn't have insane hormone imbalances that were like coming out in my mood swings when I first started, but it was during the middle 5-year portion where I had to change birth controls that I started actually going insane. Like, I was telling my mom that I should be checked into a mental hospital. I felt certifiably insane. Thank God I wasn't really, but birth control can do that to you, which really sucks. So that honestly was, the hormone imbalances is the worst part. The worst part of any birth control, going on it, going off it. changing them. It's just the unfortunate part for me. That's honestly like the hormone imbalances, the mood swings, and the acne is, you know how everyone says you have like everyone has that one thing they're always struggling with in life. You know, whether that be an addiction or, not saying that that's a good thing, but mine is hormone imbalances. I just am always dealing with acne, and I'm always dealing with hormone imbalances and mood swings. And it was really bad when I was on birth control. Like, I felt like a crazy person, and I kept saying in all my Instagram story highlights over 2 years that I was sharing the journey of going off birth control, that even after I got off birth control, having that in my system for 10 years, I was still feeling crazy and dramatic. And in fact, I went through mild depression after I went off of birth control. Going off birth control isn't easy, but being on birth control isn't any better. Yes, this is a very opinionated point of view, but like I said, dealing with the effects of birth control for 12 years, 10 being on, 2 being off, now I can say I'm doing a lot better. Like, if you had to put it on a 100-degree scale or percentage scale, I would probably be right now at like an 85, which is so good in my opinion compared to where I've been before. So the reason I went off birth control in the first place is because I was having intense gut issues in my stomach. Call it leaky gut, whatever you want. I was uncontrollably throwing up. It was like I was pregnant, where I couldn't smell things without wanting to throw up everywhere. I was barely eating. I was losing all this weight, and I was frail and weak. I couldn't work out. I couldn't even go on a hike. Like, I just couldn't do anything, and it got really bad to the point where I was just throwing up, and I realized I had to go off of it. Birth control is one of the leading issues of gut health, and you're just not told this stuff when the doctor recommends you going on birth control. So unfortunately, my gut is still healing. It's probably healed by 60%, which is awesome, but I still have problems. And some people are worse off than me. They have an autoimmune disorder, Hashimoto's, because of birth control and what it does to their gut. So anyways, that being said, that is the reason why I went off birth control in the first place. How do my husband and I, now being off of birth control, avoid pregnancy? We do the natural flamling. You know what's so funny? Here's a good joke for you. I'm redeeming myself. Our last name is Landers, and sometimes, so Jordan, when he was a kid, he was bullied, and they would call him Flanders because of The Simpsons and Flanders not being a cool last name. So now that I just said naturally flamling, I was just thinking natural Flanders planning. You're welcome. Natural family planning is what we're doing, which basically I use an app called Flo and FLO. I'll put that link in the description below because it's a really great app. No affiliate link or anything. It's just so good. And I use a thermometer that has the 100th percentage. So it's like 98.77. So it has that 100th percentage because you have to take your temperature every single morning, preferably around the same time. And the temperature, along with the other symptoms that you plug in, help determine when you're ovulating, when you're on your period, and that way you can avoid pregnancy. So some people, I'm getting really real here. Some people just do the withdrawal method. Some people use condoms. Some people don't do any of that. My husband and I, were very open about this. We do not have sex during ovulation week because we don't want a baby anytime soon. So if it really means that much to you not to have a baby, you will avoid having sex and you will both be on the same page. Communication is key. All right, moving on. I talked about acne. I still have acne, by the way. bad acne. That's something I'm still dealing with, and it is a struggle, but I am changing up a lot of different things like skincare, makeup, trying to eat healthy. Sometimes it's not as easy to do that. I've talked about hormone imbalances and mood swings, and now we're just going to talk about the period. So, the period, like I said, when I started going on birth control, was not good. Death cramps. I was very inconsistent in my period schedule. The birth control itself on the period, pretty standard. Every 28 days, cramps weren't too bad. Flow was still heavy. It was just not anything substantially different. However, when I went off birth control, there's this thing called seed cycling that I did not do, that Dr. Jolene Brighton talks about. It probably would have helped, but I didn't do it. Because I was just having a lot of struggles with my gut, and I needed to be eating really nourishing, healthy foods, and I didn't have the mental capacity to do a seed cycling diet because my gut was so bad. I was so sick. So basically, I'm not going to get into the seed cycling thing. You can look at that yourself. But when I went off of birth control, my periods were so irregular, and I did get the death cramps back every now and then. Now I don't. Now that it's been 2 years, I am proud to say I don't have death cramps. My period schedule is not consistent. It is not every 28 days. It is all over the place. That's sort of worrisome when you're married and you have sex and you don't want to have a kid, so then you are delayed, your period's delayed, and then you're like, oh shit, am I about to have a kid? Dang, you're just like and then the stress comes in. So it is a whole thing. But that's why we don't have sex during ovulation. So if I am delayed, there's less stress there, which is good for everyone. Good for your acne not to have stress. Oh, Lord help me. So, my God. Basically, with the period, now that it is delayed, the schedule is irregular, my period heaviness is less, it's less in time, my cramps aren't as bad. So it's funny how when I was 17, my cramps and everything, my period was bad, so they recommended being on birth control, and now that I'm 29, my cramps, my period isn't bad. My period isn't bad. I don't need birth control. I mean, yeah, now I'm 29, so it is a little bit better. Just funny how the world works. Something that I didn't mention while being on birth control is the migraines. During that time that I felt certifiably insane, I got my very first migraine. The migraine that makes you throw up migraine. The migraine that is just completely 100% debilitating, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I ended up having a migraine for 14 days straight. All the medication wasn't working, and I found an herb. I just have to share it with you. This herb is so important. It's helped me. I actually ran out of it 2 years ago, waited 2 weeks to reorder, got a migraine during that time because I stopped taking it, and then here we are 2 years exactly later. I ran out again. They were out of my brand, bought a new brand, works just as fine. And I got a migraine on Tuesday. Today is, 3 days later. So this supplement is amazing. You can get it off Amazon. It's called Butterbur. The one I used to take was called Butterbur with Feverfew. It was great. Now I just take Butterbur and it's just as great. So I don't know if I needed the Feverfew part of it. Butterbur supplement is amazing for migraines. So the birth control caused me to have migraines, and it unlocked this door that the door hinges came off. There's no longer a door to it. It's just a frame. And now I'm stuck with migraines for the rest of my life. Thank you, birth control. Would have never had it otherwise. I'm not pissed at all. So something that really helped me during the time of going off of birth control, because it is a crazy transition for your body, is prayer. If you are not a believer, you can just listen to this anyways, because it was so incredibly helpful to pray through having my hormones be in line with how God made people who have periods. Why can't we have authority? We have authority from God. Why aren't we using that authority through prayer to balance our hormones in order to have less symptoms while we go off of birth control? So I did that, and it was incredible, and God works wonders. And I gotta say, going off birth control, all in all, was not a bad experience. It was an experience, and there was times I felt crazy, like I was going through some stuff. Like I said, I had mild depression for, honestly, those like a year and a half. It was pretty, now I wouldn't say the mild depression was caused from going off of birth control. I think I just circumstantially had that, but I don't think my hormone imbalances were helpful in not having mild depression. So those 2 years of being off birth control and going through what I went through, it seemed so bad at the time, right? Like, oh, I'm so dramatic. Oh, these hormone and mood swings are so awful. But now when I look back at it, now I realize that I can't even remember those times. I can't remember the times of crazy mood swings. So that's probably a good sign, right? If I can't remember it, then I think we're in a good position. During that time of going off of birth control, I tried natural, organic skincare products because I wanted to do all the best things I could for myself. And at the time, I believe the beauty skincare industry was marketing clean products so much so that I kind of got sucked into that. And I will say, I don't know if it's 100% good, because science is, I believe in science. I believe in nature. I believe in God, mostly. And God isn't making skincare and putting it into my lap. He's created people to make skincare. And I think what I realized is the natural products did help my hormones, but it didn't help the problem on my face. So there's like an inner reason why you're having acne, but there's also a reason why you use skincare in the first place on top to get rid of the acne as much as you can, right? And I feel like the natural products weren't cutting it. They didn't give as much oomph as I needed. And now I'm on a journey to maybe get like good, scientific, proven skincare that works. Because I was using natural products and it didn't really do it for me. It didn't really make it worse. So, there's a chance I would go back to using natural products, organic products. I just don't know. It's one of those things that you just kind of have to figure out. I wish that there was like a magic key to this, or maybe there is, and I should just go to a dermatologist. Comment below if you think I should just go to a dermatologist, because I think I might. So that's all I have for you today. I know that is a lot of information. I wish I knew this when I was 17 years old, so I could have made a more educated decision. And honestly, if there were videos like this out there for me to research, because doctors, I don't trust Western medicine doctors. I just don't. I'm sorry. The ones I've been to have not been good. I know more about my body than they do. And if you can relate to that, you would have probably done what I wish I could have done, which is just hop on YouTube, hop on Instagram, and see what someone has gone through to really know. Because I think a 20-minute video about this is crucial to listen to than just taking a doctor's word for it that just likes to throw medicine out at people. I know that's an opinionated statement, but I've been through some shit and I just thought I'd share it with you. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'd love to hear what you think below. If you have any questions at all about the process of going off of birth control, I am here for you. I want to share that with you and help you with your journey. And I really mean that, because there's not a lot of open resources. And like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you what I've been through or what some of my friends have talked about with me that they've been through, and we can get you some help. So So thank you so much for listening. My name is Laura Landers. Please like, subscribe, comment, all of the things. It'll help a lot. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.